Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, starting with the name of Allah, the merciful, the beneficent. I think you are all fine and pray for your best health and welcome you after vacations of Muharram. And obviously we all know the corona situation is settling down this country, and maybe the physical meeting may be very near. So continuing with the online guidance, I can say, of the subject. So we have been discussing the health communication, and previously we have seen the communication skills and the ways we can communicate health information. And now after having seen the communication and the barriers to the communication, now we see the health communication. So health communication is the concern of everyone for everyone. Obviously we are all concerned with health of everyone. Health is concern of everyone. We are concerned with our own health. We are concerned with the health of our children. The government is concerned with the health of their people. The CM, the secretary, they are concerned with the health of the people. Obviously, the director is concerned with the health of the people under his jurisdiction. And in the directory, the district officer is concerned with the health of the people in his district. So health is the concern of everyone for everyone. So health communication is therefore an important area of communication. When we communicate for health, this is the best communication we can say. The term health communication is used often used synonymously with health education. So health education may be to educate somebody about health, and health communication is to convey the knowledge of the current status of the health of somebody, and obviously the facilities and the way somebody can improve his or her health, his family's health, and prevent the disease. So see it again, health communication is often used synonymously with health education, which in itself suggests outward and downward communication of knowledge. Health education is the foundation of a preventive health care system. We are educating people, this is again health education, but on the preventive grounds to improve the health of somebody and to prevent the disease. This is preventive health care system. So a sort of a system is employed, somebody's health is improved, in itself it is a prevention to the disease, and then obviously the prevention of disease in itself. So function of the health communication, obviously the health communication has to cater the following needs. So until and unless following things are done, we cannot label something as health communication. First of all, information, the knowledge is to be passed on. Education, educating somebody to use that knowledge in his own, her favor, in his family's favor, his tribe's favor, his community's favor. Motivation, to motivate somebody. Persuasion, somebody's first of all convincing somebody to use something for his own favor, but in a friendly way. And counseling, to counsel somebody to use the best possible way. Raising morale, the team's morale, the people's morale, the service providing people's morale, the community leaders' morale, that is to be raised. Then the health development, obviously the development of health in a positive way, and the health organizations which can set up a system to organize in an organized way to improve somebody's health. So first is information. And the primary function of the health communication is to provide scientific knowledge or information, to make people know where the world stands, what are our needs, whether the facilities are available or not, what are the health facilities nowadays available, how we can prevent the disease, how we can enjoy the best health. So know-how should be there. So first of all, to create a know-how. So the primary function of the health communication is to provide scientific knowledge or the information to the people about health problems and how to maintain and promote good satisfactory health. So information is there. Now people know how they can maintain their health, how they can go with it, how they can prevent the disease. Everything is there. Now people really seek such information, although they have the right to know the facts about their health and disease. People rarely come to some health facility, people rarely come to to the health information, informing people. They rarely come to the lady health workers, lady health visitors, or to the medical officer working in those areas, dispensaries. They never ask for their health information, for the information about their health. They always, whether they ask for the treatment of the disease or they ask for other facilities, they never ask for the information. And that is where the problem is. So information should be easily accessible to the people. There should be somebody who can explain to them, that guide them, tell them that what benefits they can get if they follow the standard health ethics, or they follow the standard guidelines for the maintenance of the health. So information should be easily accessible. Everyone in the health department should be cooperating. Everyone in the health department should be able to tell. So exposure to the right kind of the health information can one. So what benefit we can get out of conveying the knowledge? So exposure to the right kind of the information, or the conveyance of the communication of the right knowledge, health information to the people can one. Eliminate social and physical barriers of ignorance, prejudice, misconceptions people may have about their health matters. This is may. People may have about their health matters. So the prejudices, the misconceptions, the ignorances are those barriers are removed. Physical barriers of ignorance, prejudice, those are the social barriers, are the knowledge conveyed from the adults, knowledge conveyed through other people. That knowledge can that can be changed. The prejudices can be changed. They can definitely promote to follow the standard health ethics or health guidelines, rather than going after the misconceptions or the prejudices. And sometimes they may well be ignorant. They do not know what they need to do to improve their health. So in positive information, in a positive direction, in a positive way, will be helpful to eliminate the social and physical barriers of ignorance and prejudices and misconception that people may have with them. Then is the increased awareness of the people to the point that they are able to perceive their health needs, so that when they have increased knowledge, when they know that the doctor sitting in the basic health center is not only treating but conveying the knowledge and also providing a standard help for the prevention of the disease, the communication is there, and obviously he has been told that so this may well make somebody to know that how he or she can prevent the disease, how he can have good health, what are the nutritional aspects to prevent the disease, what are the hygienic aspects to prevent the disease, what are the standard ethics to prevent the disease. So he or she may have the better knowledge to prevent the disease and to have good health. And that is only when the awareness is increased, when the knowledge is increased. If they are told that they do not vaccinate their children with the polio drops, then the babies may have, God forgive, they may have some deformity, may have some paralysis. The same is the case with COVID-19. If they do not follow the standard hygienic standards, they do not use the mask, facial mask, they do not use the gloves, they just do not avoid the physical contact with others, they may have themselves or their family members, they may have they may develop COVID-19. They may become COVID-19 positive. So as a result of that, they may suffer some serious illnesses. So that is how the information is passed on. Awareness is increased. Influence people to the extent that unfelt needs become felt. Now the information is conveyed in such a way. They are influenced in such a way that previously, which they thought that the information, they never had the information that they have this need with them, they should vaccinate their children, they should get best food, they should have their children are malnourished, their pregnant ladies need to be vaccinated with tetanus, their pregnant ladies need to have good nutrition. So previously they never felt this need. Now those unfelt needs can be made felt needs. They can be made realized to increase their to get the standard treatment for their family members, for themselves. So the felt needs can be, unfelt needs can be made felt needs, and the felt needs become demands. Now they will have demand. They will come and they will be influenced by the knowledge. They will be influenced by the information, and they will come and they will demand that we need such facility to have healthy babies, to have safe and I can say healthy children. Then is obviously the government and the media, the health providers have an important social responsibility. All the people, the health providers, all the people involved in the health services, they have a social responsibility to provide cultural and balanced health and health related information to the people, and awaken them their interests on the basis of which they can make informed decisions. I previously told you that whenever a physician, a doctor, a simple doctor, a lady health visitor, a medical technician or dispenser, anybody is examining the patient, he or she has the responsibility of conveying the awareness, conveying the health information. He or she has the responsibility of making people to realize that what they need to improve their health. It is not the duty of a political leader. It is not the duty of any policeman. It is the duty of the health providers to make them realize health and health related information to the people and awaken them that their interests, on the basis of which they can make informed decisions. Now they are in a position to have the decision that whether they need surgery, whether they need some sort of change in their behavior, some sort of change in their health behavior, some sort of change in nutritional behavior, in their feeding habits, in the vaccinated, they need to get their children vaccinated to avoid the disease in the coming times. So assumption that the acquisition of information will mean a change in an individual's behavior and attitude is fallacious, and the most people make important decisions regarding their health only after much thought, perhaps over a period of time and after several educational contexts. This is only possible when they know, when they have been conveyed, when the important decision, when their important information has been conveyed. That will change their behavior, and the behavior change will change their attitude, and when they will change their attitude, they will think positive, they will have demand. The unfelt need will become a felt need. So only after much thought, perhaps over a period of time and after several education contexts, they will be in a position to make important decisions about their health. So the cultural values, the beliefs and the norms of the people will influence their acceptance of the information, and that is how I previously told you that how the information is processed, how the information is made accessible, how the information is made acceptable to the people, to the society members, to the people to whom the information is being conveyed. So that is very, very much important for all of us. That is very, very much important for the healthcare providers. If they just go without any sort of any standard matured information, that will be useless. The correct information obviously is a basic part of health education. So correct information should be conveyed, and the applicable, the practical information, the acceptable information is to be conveyed. Then is the education. Education of the general public is an integral part of the prevention. It seems, to start with, it seems illogical, but fact is that education changes the horizon, education changes the thinking style, education changes the feeling of somebody, the approach. Then obviously the oriented approach to health and disease problems, and the basis of all education is communication. So what type of education we are giving? We are related with health, obviously the communication. So the means is communication. We've seen the different means of communication for education. So education can help to increase the knowledge, and it is often assumed the knowledge determines attitudes, and attitudes determine behavior. So now maybe we are in a position to understand that first of all the education or the knowledge is delivered, then the education, the attitude is changed, the style is changed, the reaction to something is changed, and then obviously that will modify the behavior. So health education can bring about the changes in lifestyles and risk factors of the disease. Most of the world's major health problems and premature deaths are preventable through changes on human behavior at low cost. If the health behavior is changed, the communication for education is done, the health education is given, the people will change their behavior, and that will help to prevent the premature deaths, or whatever I can say, the preventable diseases, the preventable deaths can be the preventable deaths, the deaths can be prevented, which will not be possible without delivery of the positive delivery of the knowledge. But the education alone is insufficient to achieve optimal health. The target population must have access to the proven preventive measures or the procedures. What I mean to say is that we start telling them that in United States of America or in England they have got the prevention of such and such disease on such and such grounds, and in Pakistan those facilities are not available, or those such type of vaccines are not available, such type of I can say for example the hepatitis C vaccine is not available, then it is useless. First we have to increase their knowledge, then we have to increase their attitude, then we have to make them realize, and then is obviously the behavior. So the target population must have access to the proven preventable measure or the procedure. Then is obviously the motivation. Somebody sometimes needs motivation for the positive thing to do. So it is the power that drives a person from within to act. One of the goals of health communication is to motivate individuals to translate the information into personal behavior and lifestyle for their own health. Obviously, one of the goals of health communication is to motivate individuals to translate health information into personal behavior. So once the information is there, education is there, the ways are told, the access to the facility is there, then they are in a position to convert that information into personal behavior and lifestyle for their own health. Motivation includes stages of interest, evaluation and decision making. First obviously knowledge is conveyed, then obviously the education is given, now the motivation is done, the interest is developed, somebody is motivated, you can do this, you will be able to avoid disease, this is not a problem for you. Then obviously after doing motivation, then is obviously he or she will be able to have evaluation, and then finally the decision making, he will make a decision in such favor to have good health and to avoid the disease. Obviously the motivation will lead somebody to make good decisions and decision in the positive sense. Then is the health communication assists the individual in passing from the state of awareness and interest to the final stage of decision making and adoption of the new idea or the program. So if we convey the knowledge, then we educate somebody to how to use that sort of a facility, and then obviously the motivation, positive motivation or the motivation in the positive sense will guide somebody to make a good decision and adopt the new idea or the program. So motivation is the key. Motivation may not be long lasting. Sometimes motivation or the inspiration or the stimulation comes for a simple time, for a short time, but immediately somebody's mind changes or some negative feeding may be there. Obviously the others are there, so it may diminish the lapse of time, and it may diminish with the lapse of time, and somebody may think that the prejudice with him, the old thinking or the thinking of his forefather or her forefathers are true. So motivation may work for short time. So the best channel to success involved programs are directed at the individuals who already have some strong motivation. So first is that motivation should be, when somebody is motivated, the idea should be utilized in a short time, and the person should be convinced to have a decision. And then obviously the best channel to success involves the program directed at individuals who already have the strong motivation. So somebody who has the strong motivation, in this sense is the strong need for such a health facility or strong need for such a health behavior. somebody is suffering from some illness, somebody has got some family suffering from such disease in a family, somebody has got a genetically transmitted disease in the family, maybe blood disease, maybe thalassemia, maybe sickle cell disease, and now he or she is motivated to go for certain electrophoresis tests before the marriage, and to know whether the two partners are going to be married, whether both of them they are not carriers or they are carriers. So this way we are in a position to motivate somebody to have good health and good prospects for their coming generations. So in the patients with the chronic illness or disability are those facing acute crisis such as surgery or childbirth. So this suggests that probably the quickest pay off will come in the area of the patient education. Whenever somebody has a felt need and then is motivated, then obviously the quickest pay will come of the area. Then is the persuasion. What this persuasion is, after having some delivered the knowledge, the information is conveyed, the education is done, and the motivation is done, and now persuasion. So persuasion is the art of winning friends and influencing people, making somebody to rely on you, making somebody to trust you, making somebody to feel you are in his her favor. So persuasion is first of all the winning the art of winning friends, making friends, and then influencing them for the purpose. So that is actually, it seems something other than this, but fact is that it is simply the way how we convey the message. So persuasion is an art that does not employ force or deliberate manipulation. Rather, it is a technique, rather it is a friendly attitude. The sole purpose of the communication is to influence, is to convince, is to make somebody realize, is to make somebody to make decision. Persuasion is a conscious attempt by one individual to change or influence the general beliefs, the understanding, the values and behavior of another individual or group of individuals in some desired way. We want to get the result we want, but that is not a deliberate or a forced attempt. Force gives nothing. It is a sort of an attempt. It is a try. Persuasive communication is more effective than coercion or authoritative communication, or forcing somebody to do something. Is just a useless idea. Persuasion can change the lifestyle and modify the risk factors of the disease, or keep the risk factors of the disease away from the person, and that is a successful persuasion. That is a successful modeling. If somebody follows me and I myself imply the good health habits, then that patient, that person, that colleague, that employee, that some friend of myself, that some effective of myself accepts that behavior, adopts, then it's a very, very much successful type of a persuasion. So when persuasive communication is deliberately employed to manipulate feelings, attitudes and beliefs, it becomes propaganda or brainwashing. So brainwashing can be done. That is again a successful way, but in the positive sense. Then is of course the counseling. Been repeatedly telling, first we have delivered the knowledge, then we obviously educating somebody, then obviously is the I can say the motivation, then persuasion, and now counseling. So counseling is a process that can help people understand better and deal with their problems and communicate better with those with whom they are emotionally involved. It can improve and reinforce motivation to change the behavior. Counseling can help. If proper positive counseling is done, that can change their behavior. It can provide support at times of crisis. It helps them face up to their problems and reduce or solve them. Counseling is different from advising. It implies choice, not force. So that is why counseling is different. We give them the idea, we give them the thought, we give them the knowledge, we give them the motivation, we give them the persuasion, and now we counsel them for the correct decision. Now it is their own decision, but which decision they take. But it's to make somebody fit to take a right decision. So it implies the choice, not the force. Advising amounts to directing people and cautioning them to do something and don't do something else. So that is again a way to promote somebody to go for the good health behavior. That is again a way to counsel somebody for the nice decisions, to go for the nice behaviors. And in different circumstances, different people can understand counseling. A counselor should be able to communicate information, should be able to gain the trust of the people first, obviously. If somebody has to advise somebody to do something, he or she needs the confidence of the people. Then the counselor should have the habit should be able to listen sympathetically to the people who are anxious, distressed, possibly hostile. So then the counseling person or the leader or the what I can say, the person who has been doing counseling, then he or she has to be very, very much quiet and calm, has to see their behavior, behave sympathetically and see their anxiousness, see their distressedness, see their hostility. Then he should be comfortable, easy to counsel somebody to do or to choose the right way, to understand the other person's feelings and to respond to them in such a way that the other person can feel free to express his feelings. That is again a good counseling. One should feel free to express his feelings. One should feel free to make the decisions. But if the positive counseling is doing, if good counseling is doing, no problem. The effective will make a good decision to help people reduce or resolve their problems. Thus, counseling relies heavily on communication and relationship skills. Counseling is an important part of treatment, disease prevention and health promotion. Now, it is not only to make decision to adopt some health, to change some health behavior or to adopt some healthy activity. It is a full-fledged horizon. It is a important part of treatment. It's the disease prevention and obviously the health promotion. First of all, somebody knows why he, she, his relative, his friend, his mother, father, he or she turned ill. Now, how he or she can prevent. Now, it's help to people. It is to help people to avoid illness and to improve their lives through their own efforts. So, counseling develops positive attitudes. It is an integral part of healthcare programs. Then is the raising morale. We have seen that in health communication or health education or communication for health or communication skills or communication ways, when the knowledge is delivered, somebody is educated to use that knowledge, and then obviously the motivation is there, the persuasion is there, obviously the counseling has been done. Then is the raising morale of a person, of a team. The morale is the capacity of a group of people or team to pull together persistently or consistently to get the target in a consistent or in a decision making way or in a composed way or in a solid way or in a winning way. So morale is the capacity of a group of people or team to pull together, to work together, to struggle, to fight and to win persistently and consistently. So that is the morale, boosting morale or raising morale. Communication, vertical or horizontal, internal and external, is the first step in any attempt to raise morale of the team or a group of the people, to make the decision, to make them to win, to make them to fight. So communication has got important role. Raising morale has got important role in communication. Then is obviously the health development. Now we have delivered the knowledge, we have educated somebody, we have motivated somebody to make the right decision, we have persuaded to take that man to the right decision. Then obviously the morale boosting has been done after counseling to the right track. Now we expect, we believe, we have faith that the health development will be there. So communication can play a powerful role I can say in health development by helping to diffuse knowledge in respect of the goals of development and preparing the people for the roles expected of them. But its own role is essentially supportive. I mean to say that the person who has been communicating something, he has to play a positive role in the health development of the person to whom he or she is trying to do that. The role expected of the people should be played by them after somebody's support, which will make the development of their health. So judicial use of the communication media can contribute to the health development. Over here, judicial means the generalized, the standardized, or the reasonable, in simple words, reasonable use of the communication media will be very, very much helpful in the health development of some group of the people or some specific person. Then is finally the health organization. We have delivered the knowledge, we have educated somebody, then we have motivated, then persuasion is done, supportive mere for the counseling is done, the morale boosting is there, the health development is there, and now finally the health organization. The organized way to save, to promote somebody's health, to save somebody from the disease. So communication is the life and blood of an organization. There are two major directions in which communications within the organization can flow. These are vertical and horizontal, those are vertical and horizontal communications in an organization. So first consider, before going into it, consider the organogram, the hierarchy of the department, the senior and junior ladder, from the junior to the senior, or downward ladder, from downward steps from the senior to the junior. Hierarchy are the steps in the roles of the people in the team or in the health organization. So there are vertical and horizontal communications. So vertical communication can be downwards or upwards. So and horizontal or cross communication can take place usually between equals at any level. When some the implies the conveying people are at equal, then the horizontal communication, and if senior and junior are involved, then is a horizontal vertical, or you can say the upward and downward type of communication. So first, the downward communication extends from the top administrator down through hierarchy of the professional and non-professional to the beneficiaries or the employees. The direction in which the communication flows in an organization suggests the degree of freedom in the internal communication network. Communication is an important dimension of the health organization. It is an important means of intra and intersectoral coordination. So communication is the one which works for the intra or intersectoral coordination, and that is how we can convey the message that whether such and such policy, such and such health facility is there and that is being utilized, that whether such health behavior has been changed for that tribe, that community, that group of the people, those people in the living in the vicinity of that union council or living in that union council, we can convey this message to our nearest colleagues, our seniors and juniors. So all those things can help us to improve the health of the people, to save them from the disease, to prevent them from the disease, and of course to put them on health ways to become a healthy nation. That's all from myself. Now the fried chicks and gunshot burger is waiting for me. I say goodbye, and that is all from the communication skills. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.